The new Porsche 911 is here. It's a four-wheel drive boasting enhanced efficiency, more traction, and better manual control. We want to know more and have asked former race car driver Klaus Nietzwitz to test out the new ride. Will it live up to its promises? He's very impressed by this Carrera 4's manual controls. He says they're perfect. He's also positively surprised by the rear-wheel design, which he says makes driving a whole lot more fun. Only professionals should disable the ESP controls. Klaus likes the display system up front too, and says it's helpful because you can keep track of the electrical power distribution and see if there's more up front, at the back, or if it's neutral. There are some aesthetic differences between the 911 four-wheel and rear-wheel drives too. The continuous light strip between the rear lights is new to the Carrera 4. And the engine makes an impressive sound. Erhard Mösler of Porsche says that in the last generation of models, or more simply those sold before the summer of 2012, 34% were four-wheel drives, but not turbocharged. But he says if the turbos are included, that figure rises to 49%. In effect, he says, almost half of the 911 models are four-wheel drives. The front is typical of a 911 model, slick and stylish. The indicators and daytime running lights are located above the large air vents. Inside, drivers can expect to enjoy the distinctively sporty feel of the Porsche. The switches are within easy reach of the center console. New technology in the front spoiler serves for enhanced security. Erhard Mösler shows us the radar sensor, which is responsible for the new distance control system. The technology allows you to program a speed-dependent distance between you and the car in front. The company calls it the Porsche Active Safe and says it can help prevent collisions. The safety mechanism works in 3 steps, Erhard explains. If the car is too close to the vehicle in front, the driver receives a visual warning. If they don't react, then a red warning light comes on, and the brake pedal jerks slightly to indicate the driver should take action. Finally, the system will bring the vehicle to a halt automatically. That all works thanks to the mega powerful ceramic brakes, which can tame the powerful engine. The back tires are 1 centimeter wider than normal, and the rear wheel arches are 4.4 centimeters broader. The hood and roof fold over automatically in an astonishing 12 seconds. If only the weather this year in southeast Austria weren't so changeable. Now to recap on the features. The Carrera 4 Cabriolet with dual-clutch gearbox has a 3.4-liter capacity and 257 kilowatts. It reaches a speed of 100 kilometers per hour in 4.7 seconds and can go up to 280 kilometers at its peak. It's time for Klaus's verdict. He's positively gushing. He says it's a perfect combination of enhanced safety and motoring fun. He's also a fan of the new width, saying that it allows for an even sportier drive. The Carrera 4 is already popular in the U.S. and in Europe, and even more so in mountainous Switzerland, where 2/3 of all Carrera owners choose a four-wheel drive. For over 40 years, the company Case Boersetre was firmly associated with coaches made in Germany. The company was integrated into the Daimler Group, but it continues to lead the way in coach manufacture as part of the Evo Bus subsidiary. Evo Bus's Michael Stark says the goal was to use 5% less fuel in the new 500 series than in previous models. To achieve that saving, the company carried out a comprehensive investigation, taking a number of factors into account. The most important one, he explains, is aerodynamics. He's proud of the new design and says with a drag coefficient of 0.33 and a modern slick exterior, the new model is setting the standard in the commercial coach sector. But a tourbus is nothing without passengers. We've asked Renata and Jürgen Beekman to take a look at the new Setra Comfort Class 500. Jürgen can't resist getting into the driver's seat. The new model is equipped with the latest safety features. There's an active brake assistant, distance cruise control, and even a rest reminder for drivers. But there's also something new for passengers. Jürgen is enjoying the view. He notes that in the older models, his view was obstructed by a partition, often containing the safety hammer. But now he's free to enjoy the scenery. Sometimes the seats in older buses are a little snug and uncomfortable. And the new model is spacious too, with multi-adjustable seats. Jürgen feels like he's traveling in his own car. Hungarian coach operators, accompanied by their partners, are checking out the new model too. There's space for 49 passengers in all. And those sitting at the back won't miss out. Fitted screens ensure everyone has a view. Istvan Cherry is impressed. He thinks the new model looks good and that passengers will be drawn to the ergonomic seats. He highlights what he thinks are the three most important factors to take into account: safety, comfort, and an environmentally friendly engine. And now for a quick look at the rear. Stark says BlueTech 6 is his company's answer to the forthcoming law on emissions. From 2014, all coach manufacturers must meet new requirements. He says it's about efficiency and economy. The new engine range developed to meet the Euro 6 standards are a good response. The new Setra uses 21 liters per 100 kilometers. That's almost 2 liters less than its predecessor. Mini has just unveiled a new model, a coupe version of its countryman SUV. The new two-door Paceman is intended to be sportier than its bigger brother. You can't help but notice the back slanted roof and curvy waistline. The Paceman is available in Germany beginning in March. There are 2 gasoline models and 2 diesels on offer. 4-wheel drive will be an option in the more powerful versions. The R8 Spider is Audi's cutting-edge sports car. Now the high-performance vehicle has been given a makeover. The new features include a 7-gear S-tronic engine and bodywork that weighs only 216 kilos. You can choose between a 4.2 and 5.2-liter FSI Quattro with up to 386 kilowatts. In Germany, the R8 Spider comes with a price tag of 124,800 euros. The Volvo. Not many brands have such a good reputation for making safe cars. The Swedish were amongst the first to integrate a series of three-point safety belts to reinforce doors against collisions, to have park assist sensors, and to introduce a blind spot monitor. Our car tester Konstantin Beim says that's all well and good for the car occupants if they're involved in an accident. But what about pedestrians? In a worst-case scenario, the car would hit my legs, and I'd be thrown over the hood. My head would normally hit the windscreen wiper, or this pillar, except this is no ordinary car. It's a V40. The new Volvo is the first car in the world with a pedestrian airbag. It's designed to protect the head from serious injury and is fitted as standard. The new V40 safety devices aren't obvious from the outside. Its shape is curiously curved. But it's sporty and modern overall. Volvo did away with traditional bumpers way back. From the design, you'd be forgiven for thinking someone had rear-ended it. As our car tester says, appearance is a matter of taste, but considering the Swedish are so safety conscious, the fact that they are following the trend of building ever smaller windows that you can hardly see out of is quite a paradox. The interior is more pleasing. Volvo has developed its own straightforward, elegant style that pays attention to detail. The practically freestanding central console isn't new, but the dashboard with selectable displays in place of integrated instruments is. And you won't find many cars with a light-up gear stick. Konstantin says the price list advertises water-repellent side windows at the front.
Das muss ich sehen. Okay. €110.
It passes the test, but it'll set you back 110 euros. If a spacious trunk is a priority for you, move along. A VW Golf offers more. The V40's true rivals are, in fact, the BMW 1 Series, the Audi A3, or the Mercedes A-Class. But Volvo once belonged to Ford, and much of the mechanics come from the Ford Focus. Can the car really compete with these expensive competitors? Konstantin says things like quality, technology, and comfort count most in this category. He says the Volvo makes a good first impression. It feels robust and drives quietly. A feel-good atmosphere is important for this class of car, more than a huge interior, for example. Our car tester is therefore surprised at how comfortable it is in the back. The panoramic sunroof gives a sense of space, but sadly it doesn't open and costs a hefty 1,150 euros extra. If money doesn't play a role, you can buy a V40 with more than 187 kilowatts. But if it does, the most economical D2 uses an average of 3.6 liters per 100 kilometers. It's the cheapest in its range. But you should still start saving, as the overall price begins at just under 25,000 euros and can easily clock up to 35 or 40,000 euros with the extras. Our car tester says the V40 is not a bad alternative to a Mercedes, BMW, or Audi. And for the pedestrians among us, it's good to know that cars like the new Volvo exist. Hopefully, the pedestrian airbag will be adopted by other car makers soon. Driving through Italy in a Bentley T2. Life can't get much better than that. Our test driver, Christoph Bauer, is enjoying the Dolce Vita in very English style. Christoph says he could easily get used to the polished wood interiors and the smell of fine leather. But he says the T2's hardly a car for vegetarians. Around 8 cattle hides were used to create this interior. Everything here can be operated electrically, seats, windows, but also the gasoline caps and trunk. He says even the ashtray empties automatically when you close it. Everything has been done to make the driver's life as pleasant as possible. Bentley's first T-Series was built between 1965 and 1977, at the same time as the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 1. The second series only ran up to 1980 and offered a more modern rack and pinion steering system, among other things. Christoph says that the Bentley T2 is very similar to the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow in terms of its engine, too. He says even if English gentlemen don't like to boast, the performance of the hand-assembled V8 engine with a 6.8-liter capacity can certainly be described as adequate. The car has 223 horsepower under its long hood. Christoph says the 550 Newton-meters of torque is also impressive, a classy drive all round. The T-Series was the first Bentley to be built without a separate chassis. The T2's hood and doors were made of aluminum, but the vehicle remained a heavyweight all the same. Our car tester says the Bentley T2 may weigh in at 2.2 tons, but it drives like a dream. You only need to keep a couple of fingers on the wheel. The power steering does the rest. He says this stately vehicle hugs the bend so closely that at times you worry that it might tip over. Bentley's sporting image had faded by the time the Bentley T-Series was built. Walter Owen Bentley founded the company in 1919, and his cars quickly proved a success on the track. Bentley's won the Le Mans 24 Hours on 5 occasions between 1924 and 1930, but the company was in deep financial trouble. Bentley boy racer Wolf Benato propped up the firm for a while with his family fortunes, but in 1931 Bentley was purchased by Rolls-Royce. Christoph says that you have to look very closely to spot the differences between a Bentley T2 and a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. The radiator grille, the brand name, and the ornament on the hood are different. And the wheel caps. The Bentley is a bit more understated than the flashy Rolls-Royce. But anyone prepared to shell out over 90,000 German marks for a luxury limousine at the end of the 1970s also wanted to display his wealth. Our car tester says most people decided in favor of the Rolls-Royce. The Bentley T2 is a textbook example of what is called badge engineering. The design of the Silver Shadow and the T2 are practically identical. 5 meters 20 in length, the T2 is a meter longer than a contemporary Golf. That's big, even in today's world. Chrome as far as the eye can see, even in the interior. There are plenty of chrome levers and switches. The T2 doesn't try to assert its individuality under the hood either. The V8 engine is clearly labeled Rolls-Royce. And this engine was made to last. It's not unusual for T2s to have 500,000 kilometers on the clock. The 8-cylinder engine is also very smooth, as our car tester testifies. Christoph says that the T2 is one of the quietest cars in the world. He says that many of the components, such as the shock absorbers and gearbox, were surrounded by rubber to distance the bodywork from any moving parts and the road surface. Driving becomes an almost meditative experience. You can see a T2 in all its glory in the Zeithaus, the vintage car museum in the northern German city of Wolfsburg. The Bentley is on show along with many other milestones in motoring history. And the T2 deserves to be up there with the greats. Christoph says that Bentley and Rolls-Royce always endeavored to produce the best cars in the world. He says that when the T2 was launched, trade journalists struggled to find anything to criticize. A sharp edge on the gasoline cap and a rather awkward compartment by the driver's seat was about as much as they could come up with. Another good thing about the Bentley T2 from today's perspective is its price. A well-preserved model will set you back around 30,000 euros. A bargain for a luxury sedan like this. In 1977, it cost approximately twice as much as a Porsche Turbo. Our car tester says that the Bentley T2 can be described as a huge flop in commercial terms. Only 558 vehicles were sold, compared to 8,500 Silver Shadows. Nevertheless, the Bentley T2 is described as the best luxury limousine of the 1970s, so it's definitely a milestone in motoring history.
Definitiv ein Meilenstein der Automobilgeschichte.
And the T2 might have been the last Bentley if Volkswagen hadn't stepped in to save the marquee in 1998, after its parent company ran into